removed from the meeting. Why? Okay, well, anyway, so it seems like based off of the poll that I took in the Discord, we're going to go over deal underwriting. Hopefully that will answer whatever questions people have about creative financing. If not, then I'll answer questions about creative financing. I will go into whatever wholesaling basics questions people have, and then we'll just do open forum Q&A at the end. Sound good? Cool. So who has a deal that they would like me to go over? Because that is where we are going to start. No one has a deal that needs me to go over? All right, well then let's just go over one at random. I'm going to take a deal from start to finish right now. No, I did Birmingham last time. Let's do Atlanta. I'm down for Atlanta. Not for $1 million property. I'm down for Atlanta.
Wait, I'm sorry. David, can you mute your mic, please?
Oh, sorry.
All right, so here are the settings that I typically do. As most of you know, I like Redfin. When you're going to settings or filters, the only thing that I'm doing is time on Redfin. I like 90 days. Our minimum is 60. There's plus or minuses for benefits and pros and cons for if you go higher or less than that. So now, once I've got that picked, I'm just going to back up so I can actually take a look at the city. Cool. And then I'm going to start with the first one. Now, typically, I don't do condos. And other than James, I don't have good luck with new constructions. Let's do, is this a condo? Doesn't look like a condo. Come on, show me the outside. That's a condo. What about you? Are you a condo? Are you all condos? That looks like a condo. That's a condo. Here we go. All right. I know it's a little bit above what I would normally tell you guys to go for, but for the sake of this, we're going to do it. So this has been on market for 89 days. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the address. Anytime someone has a question about creative financing that gets sparked as I'm going through this, just cut me off because I can't see the other screen or you guys raising your hand. All right, so now that I've got this property, I'm going to put it in the Deal Sniper. We're going to see if we can do a creative financing offer on this property. So there's the property. It's listed for $490,000. It's been on market for 90 days. Does it have a mortgage? I have no idea. So I'm going to hit no. And now I'm going to clean up my numbers. 438,000. That's fine. I've been more laxed lately when it comes to cleaning up numbers. So anytime I say clean up your numbers, this is what I'm talking about. We're just rounding it off. As a matter of fact, I don't like that. I don't like 501. There we go. Okay. So just to give anyone a little quick explanation in case they didn't see the other training that I did, this here, this estimated assignment fee is based off of 10% of the purchase price. Let me explain. Our standard operating procedure, our rule for the maximum down payment that we are allowed to give to a seller is 10% of the purchase price. 10% of this purchase price would be $53,800. We're giving them $38,000 down. So the difference or the balance, whatever's left over from the $53,000 is automatically our assignment fee. So I say that to say this: if you want a higher assignment fee, don't go for a higher purchase price or a lower purchase price. That doesn't matter. It plays no bearing. And the higher the purchase price, it'll actually hurt you trying to get that thing sold. If you want a higher assignment fee, negotiate a lower down payment. Because let's say I want to do a down payment, I can talk them into $25,000. Well, now look at my assignment fee. That means this plus this equals 10% of that, which is damn near a slam dunk for an investor. Here's another question that I've been getting a lot. How do I know if it's a good deal? So we've been doing some updates to Deal Sniper in the back end. Let me show you what I'm talking about. If I go to long-term rental, Before, I used to tell you guys, Deal Sniper will always give you a good deal. Now we're actually tightening our data on the back end to make sure that the deals that you're sending offers out on are actually good deals. And if they're not, we're going to let you guys know in advance. Case in point, if I go to long-term rental, I know a lot of people like to go to Section 8. I'm going to go over that in a second. Let's go over long-term rental because it applies more often than Section 8. If I go to long-term rental, based off the offer that I put in here, this information has to do with the buyer. Okay. So this is if the buyer goes to a bank, gets a mortgage, has a 6% interest rate, amortized over 30 years with an 80% loan to value, this is what it would look like. If we calculate 5% vacancy, 5% repairs and maintenance, property management, what I've been finding lately is we should be calculating that at about 10% if our buyer or we think our buyers are not going to be local investors. If they're not local and they're going to have a property manager because they don't live close to the property that you're trying to sell them, we need to account for that in our numbers, and that's usually 10%. It's actually closer to 9, but 10% is just easier. And then CapEx, you can keep it at 3. I like to run it at 5. It's more realistic. So, does this deal work if we send out the terms that we generated here?
No.
No, it does not. The return on investment is decent, but it does not cash flow. It would actually cost our investor $9,000 a year if they wanted to own this property. And I see a lot of people say, hey, Sean, I'm putting in properties and it keeps coming up a negative cash on cash return. It's probably the area that you're in. And what that means is the area is not generating enough rent for us to justify this offer. It'll create the offer for you because Deal Sniper is not doing underwriting and making decisions. It's doing the underwriting for you by telling you, okay, here's the numbers. And then it's doing the underwriting for you by telling you, okay, here's what those numbers look like. And then it's up to you to make the decision if the deal works or not. In this situation, it does not. Does anyone have any questions on how to navigate what I just did?
No, that was perfect. That was the DM that I sent you because everything because I'm in Atlanta too, so that's why this worked out perfect.
Yeah, I saw you pop in here, so I'm like, all right, let's go ahead and jump into that. So does that cover everything that you were asking me?
Yeah, so I just got to change the area.
I would suggest changing the area, and it's not necessarily changing the state. It could be as simple as changing the zip code. You're just looking for more rent, an area that has a better rent or a better Section 8 presence. Now let's talk about that because I said that I would. So for Section 8, obviously this doesn't work as a Section 8 either. But when you're running a Section 8, if this number is positive and this number is above 8% on a Section 8, go for it. If it's not, don't. It's not a good deal. What we're trying to do is we're trying to centralize all of what you guys are going to be needing to look at to determine if a deal is good or not, all in one place, which is in Deal Sniper. So now, instead of Deal Sniper giving you numbers that will just make the deal work no matter what, we're letting you guys know on a little bit of a deeper level, okay, we're tightening the reins a little bit. Here's how it goes. Second thing, once you've determined that the deal works, you go here, assuming that it's green. Let's do here. Let's just make it simple. Still not enough. Okay, so let's say the deal is good, right? So now we want to send this letter out. And the next question that I typically get, or I'll see in the Discord, is, hey, my term length is 42 years or 90 years, or what the hell? You can absolutely manipulate the term by manipulating the payment. I wouldn't do that because by manipulating the payment, you're making the cash on cash return worse. What I would do is right here after months, just put the word balloon, : and then use the appropriate balloon range for your purchase price. In this situation, it would be 10 to 12 years. That way, it doesn't matter what the term is. It doesn't matter if this is 1,000 years. A balloon means they're getting paid in whatever that number is, 10 years, 12 years, whatever. What's up, Amber? That was you, right?
Yes, it was. You're A1. Okay, so my question I've never thought about this until just now. In a situation like this, since we're supposed to kind of cap out at 30-year amortization anyway, would that be okay to edit that to say 30 years and then put the balloon, or no?
If it's something like this is, for example, technically, you already know what I'm going to say. Tell the truth. It's not 30 years. It's 42 years and 9 months. So if that is your concern, like even if you know, it doesn't matter if it's 100 years, there's a balloon, but you don't want that to cloud the issue, then term length, delete it completely, and then put balloon length 10 to 12 years.
Got you.
That takes the whole, it just points out, here's the bottom line. Fuck the term, doesn't matter the term, you're getting paid in 10 years or 12.
Okay,
or
so
whatever.
Focused on what's important. Okay,
Yeah,
so
if it's a number that's absurd in the term length, just delete term length and just put balloon length and then put the appropriate balloon in there.
So based on the example that I sent you earlier, I think the purchase price was like $588.
Yep.
Since I've never had one that big, do I have to go above 12 years, or can 10 to 12 still be okay?
10 to 12 is okay. It should be closer to 15, but I know how you look at your deals, and usually the numbers are pretty on point, or you wouldn't bring it to me anyway. So I would say 10 to 12, you're probably okay.
Okay, good. Thank you.
No problem. So once I have this information, I've got my email cleaned up. I know that the numbers work. And when I say I know that the numbers work, once I've cleaned up my numbers, I'm doing a quick boom. If this is green and this is above 10, I'm good to go. So then I'm going to go back to the ad, and I'm going to look right below the about this home. I see a lot of people asking, can I use the request showing, the start an offer, the ask Redfin agent? I'm interested. No, do not use any of those. The only person you should be dealing with, at least in this situation, would be Jacqueline Schaefer at OfferPad Brokerage LLC. Now, a lot of times they will have either their phone number or their email address or both listed right here. If they don't, copy and paste the entire thing and then search it. Copy their name and the company they work for. Boom. Here's the phone number right here. Top search. Now let's say, oh, I'm shy. I just want to send an email. All right. Well, now you're looking for their profile, which would be like right here. No, I'm not signing into anything. Now, unfortunately, she's still not listing her email address anywhere. So you would have to give them a call. You would have to give her a call. And here's another thing that's a benefit to giving them a call. You can give them a call and say, hey, Jacqueline, let's say it was me. Hey, Jacqueline, this is Sean. I've got an offer that I'd like to send you on Winfield Circle in Tucker. I don't see your email address posted anywhere. Can you text that to this number so I can get that email over to you? Also, I see you've got like 34 properties listed. Great job. Heads up, the offer on Winfield is going to be a creative offer. After you take a look at it, whether they're interested or not, out of the 34 properties you have listed, if there are any of them that would be open to that kind of offer, I represent about 9 buyers directly in the Tucker area that are looking for these types of terms. I'm 99% sure I can get these properties moved for you ASAP. And as far as your commission is concerned, my buyer will cover it if your seller needs help. So just let me know. That's it. We're not thirsty for this shit. Just let me know. And then that's it. In the meantime, your goal, send me your fucking email address. And they will send you their email address. But by taking the time to look them up to see that they have 34 properties currently listed right now, all by the same person, yeah, this is someone you want to talk to. Because even if this property doesn't work, there are 33 more that it might. And you don't know unless you ask. And here's the great thing. Let's say Jacqueline is one of those real estate agents who has been burned by another wholesaler and doesn't want to work with you and says, hell no, don't ever call me again. That's okay. Because guess what? There's 1.5 million properties listed, so you can try it again. Because most of them won't be that dismissive towards you. Does anyone have any questions over what I just went over? Because that's a happy mistake that I'm glad popped up that you guys got to see. Anybody? All right.
Yeah, does that kind of go into like the interest rate and stuff too? Because I've been getting more responses now, but now it's more so they're like, oh, I see your they'll ask me like, why is the asking price so much higher? Then I'll explain it, and then I'll explain the 0%, and then they'll come back they'll be like, well, I see your terms, but we want 20,000 down or 30,000 down, and you have to have interest. And then I try to explain to them again, and they're like, no, we don't want it no more. So I'm like, I don't know if I'm doing something wrong where I don't like, because again, I'm getting the responses, but then now when we're negotiating, they're just like, no, like we want this or that or nothing at all. And I'm like, I don't understand what to do after that.
There's nothing you can do. You're not doing anything wrong. If you're articulating that we are trying to move this property to an investor that's going to put a tenant in there so that they can cash flow, and while we understand the terms that you're asking for, if you get those terms, if we agree to them, our buyers absolutely will not buy it. Therefore, this whole thing would be a waste of our time, and they still don't want to do it, then move on.
So in traditional seller financing, like say the purchase price online is like 300. Is that why they asked that? Are they making their seller financing terms just from the 300, and then that's why they're asking for a bigger down payment? Because again, they always ask me like, they're like, why are you paying like 30,000, 40,000 more? And I'm like,
Well, what do you tell them when they ask that? Tell me what you tell them.
I say that the interest rate, I say we pay not we, I say I have a higher interest rate because we calculate the interest. We have a 0% interest rate because we calculate the payments into the overall purchase price. And I'm usually writing this, and I'll say and through that way the seller is getting like their I'm not like wording it right, but that's kind of like the gist. I'm sorry if I'm not articulating the best. And then they'll write back and they'll say, I understand what you're saying, but we want more money.
Okay. I mean, assuming that you are articulating it correctly to them, and they say, hey, we want more money.
Because they don't say no at first. They're like, oh, like they said, they'll be like, oh, I see what you're saying, but like, because I guess from after I explain it, it seems like what's happening. They're like, well, that makes sense, and you're paying more money, so why can't you put more of a down payment? And then I explain again, and they're like, nah, I just want more money, or they're not willing to tell. But then I don't know if they're not willing to talk to the seller, or they just know that the seller's already gonna be opposed to not getting a bigger down payment.
It could be either or. It could be either one of those. But here's the thing. Ultimately, none of that matters. And okay. I'm gonna point out something that I don't like to point out. However, I don't get to come out very often. So let's raise a little chaos. If you guys are using the tracking sheet that I have told you guys to use and maintain and update, anytime those properties are not on market anymore, meaning the listing expired, you guys can call the seller directly. If you're keeping good notes, if you're tracking everything, you can bypass. I don't want you guys bypassing the real estate agent if it's still under contract with the real estate agent. That's a dick move. Don't do that. We don't do that. But if you get the idea that the real estate agent isn't even sharing your offer with the seller and the property is now expired on market, meaning it is no longer under contract, you don't have any responsibility to continue to reach out to the real estate agent. The contract that they had is expired. Now you can reach out to the seller directly and then present your offer, which is exactly what I would do. Again, do not circumvent the real estate agent if it is still under contract and on market. But if it's expired, then just reach out to them directly. And if you're keeping good notes like I'm telling you guys to, that should be an easy process. You just skip trace the address, get the seller's phone number, call them up directly. Hey, don't mean to make any waves. I saw that your property was on market. I did reach out to your real estate agent, John or Sherry or Michael or Chris, whatever their name is. Make sure you use their name so they know that they realize that, hey, you know what you're talking about. And then say, I did reach out to Sean and I did explain this offer to him. I offered X amount of dollars. Start with that. That'll be over the asking price. And then say, but they told me that you weren't going to be interested in that type of offer. And I just wanted to see if you had a couple of minutes to go over it. If you are interested, great. I'd love to tell you more about it. If you're not interested, I don't want to waste your time. I won't even call you anymore. You'll get 5 minutes out of that person to explain your offer. If they like it, great, they'll go for it. If they don't like it, then they won't. That's what I would do. So when real estate agents tell me no, or, oh, my seller won't like that at all, or, oh, we want more anyway, or whatever the feedback is, okay, well, good luck to you. I hope you guys get it sold, which I actually mean. I do hope they get it sold because I want everyone to get paid. But in the event that they don't, yeah, I'm calling that seller. Hey, you're not in contract anymore, but let me tell you about this offer. And I want to see if they like it. And if they like it, great. If they don't, oh well, move on to the next. That's what I would do.
Also, too, is just common because, again, the more I'm reaching out to people, I'm starting to get the gist that, like, a lot of realtors, I don't know if they learned a certain way, but, like, for example, like, I reached out to this one and they responded back. They said, oh, they have a mortgage. And I was like, okay, well, would they be open to a sub 2? And then they wrote me back and was like, I don't even know what that is. And then she wrote me back like 2 hours later. I guess she Googled it or what. But I'm running into that a lot as well, that they
Your
don't.
terminology is off.
Oh.
Don't say that because you're right. A lot of real estate agents don't know what that is. So here's what you say. Oh, my apologies. I didn't know that they had a mortgage. I'll tell you what, if you can send me what the approximate mortgage balance, interest rate, and monthly payment is, I can send you a new offer in about 15 minutes covering that mortgage also.
Okay.
Then you have the information without creating any confusion.
Yeah, because definitely that's been happening to me probably like a lot the last 3 days.
Yeah, just change up the wording a little bit. Try not to use wording or analogies that most people don't understand. And I know this is terrible to say, but again, villain arc, the less that you say, the better. Because then their own interpretation, whether correct or incorrect, they're going to run with that and then get you the information anyway so that you can provide them with accurate numbers. I know it sounds manipulative, and you know what? It is. But we are being manipulative in order to get them the numbers that they need to make a decision. We're not manipulating the numbers, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Awesome. Any other questions, David?
No, thank you. Thank you.
No problem. Who's next? Who else has got a question? What's up, dude?
Hi, Sean. How are you?
Fantastic. How about yourself?
I'm good.
What can I do for you?
I was wondering if in our offer letter, if we can put a note maybe down somewhere in a corner to ask. Let's say that, okay, I saw a property. I did my calculation and the cash on cash is good and everything. But since I was not aware that there was a mortgage on that property, can I put in a somewhere in a side note in my email or my text message that if any mortgage was on that property, I would like the realtor or the person that is selling to let me know so I can rerun my number and send them a new offer?
Yeah. That's the great thing about using Deal Sniper. The template that we provide is a basic template. You can literally change it to do and say anything that you want. The only thing that I would advise is that if you're going to change the template in any way, which I recommend people do, I think that you guys should change the template to match the way that you actually talk, or to give the information that you actually see is needed out in the field, sending out offers in the markets that you're in. Is if you make a change, stick with it for at least 30 days, good or bad. Because that's the only way you're going to get the data to really understand, did this help me or not?
Okay.
I see people who they make a change to the letter for like a week and they're like, oh, it didn't work. How the fuck do you know? You let it go for a week. There are people who will switch markets up every other week, or then say, oh, this state is not working. How do you know? You were only in your market for a week. And depending, if you're in a decent sized market, I refuse to believe you sent out that many offers in a week. I'm sorry. I don't believe you.
Yeah.
You're either in too small of a market or you're lying.
What I did is recently when I see like new construction mainly, and let's say that there is a company that is already working to build that house or something like that, and I test them as if I want to know if there is a mortgage on the house before I even send my offer. And most of them, they didn't get back to me, the realtor that I tested. So that's why I was wondering if sending the offer, then putting a side note in the same offer and saying that, okay, if there is any mortgage and you would like me to rerun my calculation, please send me the PITI and the mortgage information so I can, send a new offer would be a good idea or not.
Yeah, absolutely. You can try that.
All right.
And then do me a favor and report back to me next month and let me know how it worked.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have another question. So, sometimes when you talk to the realtors, I'll ask, if they say no, I'll say do you have other properties that people in your listings that people may be into the terms and whatnot? And some realtor today, well, no, it was like on Monday, but he sent me the property today. So basically what I'm trying to ask is, if they send you a property that they have under contract, but it's not on market, and then you put it into Deal Sniper, but it can't show up on Deal Sniper, what information do I need from them to like be able to still plug the deal in properly? I just need the insurance and the taxes still, or no?
Okay, so I want to make sure I understand correctly. A real estate agent that you said, hey, do you have anyone else that's open to a creative offer, sent you an address that is not on market, and you're trying to figure out how to use the tools that are available to run that deal properly.
Yes.
Perfect. Take the address, put it into Deal Sniper. The only thing that's going to be off if you put an off-market property into Deal Sniper is the purchase price. But the real estate agent should be able to tell you how much the seller wants.
Yeah, but when I was putting in the address, it was because it was saying address can't be found. I don't.
Is it in the boondocks somewhere?
I think it's like in upstate New York. I know that I see there's a lot of trees over there, so maybe that's what it is.
It could be, but that shouldn't stop.
Is there a unit?
Okay,
unit number or something?
Huh?
Was there a unit number?
No, it's a regular residence.
Gotcha.
You should try to copy and paste the address from like a different website. Like when I was doing that, for some reason, when I copied and pasted from Redfin, they couldn't find it. But I tried Zillow and Deal Sniper found it.
Okay, I'm gonna try that because I definitely was doing it from Zillow, but it wasn't working. But I copied and pasted it, like the actual address that I put on Google. I put it into the Deal Sniper too, and it wasn't coming up. So I just wanted to know if I was doing something wrong or whatever.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta take those extra measures. Not everything's perfect.
Yeah, and like it's one of those things where sometimes you'll put it into Deal Sniper and the address will say unit 1, but in Deal Sniper you need to put #1 for number 1. So It really just depends, but I would definitely take Darren's idea and copy it from a different address and paste it directly into Deal Sniper. It should pop up. If it doesn't, then here's what you need to do. You need to go to either Redfin or Zillow, whichever website the address does pop up on. Look up the taxes. You're going to count the insurance at about $100 a month, which is $1,200 a year. And then you're going to ask the real estate agent, how much do they want? And then the condition of the property. Assuming everything is standard and average, then you're going to put the purchase price of how much do they want into the deal machine calculator. Then from there, you just figure out, start at like 6% of the purchase price would be your down payment. You'll have to look up either on Zillow or Redfin how much the property will rent for. If it's not popping up in Deal Sniper, and you'll put that in the LTR section. You'll put the taxes from either Redfin or Zillow. Both of them will tell you the taxes. You'll put that into the deal machine calculator. Under insurance, you'll put $1,200. And then as far as the monthly payment, start at $100 and then keep going up by $100 until you get to 10 to 12% cash on cash return. And then back it up a couple $100 so that you have some wiggle room to negotiate. There's your offer.
Okay, thanks.
And if you need help, let me know. We can jump on a one-on-one tomorrow and we can underwrite the damn thing together. Shit, we can underwrite the damn thing tonight if you've got all the numbers.
Yeah, I still gotta. Nah, I don't have. Well, I have the number that it was originally listed at, but
we can start off with that. You just have to look up the tax. I'll tell you what. I'm gonna take some other questions. Look up the taxes and look up how much the place will rent for, and then let me know, and we'll underwrite the deal right here.
Also, too, I wanted to add on to something you were saying before, as far as calling a realtor with when they have like a lot of properties, because I reached out to this lady last week and the deal couldn't work, but I just talked to her regular. Like, I was like, hey, I explained what I do. And now we have like a relationship where like I'm calling her, she's calling me. She's like actively looking for properties to send me. So I think that is like an important thing that like, I understand that we get a lot of no's, but like if you are friendly with realtors and you explain what you do, like they definitely will try and help you, especially if they feel like you can help them make money, because we're literally supposed to have like a meeting on Monday. She's just trying to build up a list for me to like look through. I just wanted to say that for encouragement, just for anybody out there.
That's 100% accurate.
Y'all both providing value to each other. Y'all both gonna make money.
If you want to catapult your business, get in good with real estate agents. Because now, and again, Deal Sniper is great. It's my baby. But if you get in good, and I mean good, it's going to take time to build that kind of relationship, unless you're someone as cool as me, to make a solid relationship with a real estate agent, let alone multiple real estate agents. But if you've identified, hey, I've got 2, 3, 4 good real estate agents in this market, you could literally cancel Deal Sniper. You don't need it anymore after that, because they will be feeding you business as long as you keep doing what you're supposed to do. Tell them, do what you say you're going to do right by them. They will feed you business. If you want to catapult your bank account, get in good with real estate agents. And the way you get in good with real estate agents, do what you say you're going to do. Close on time. Be upfront and honest about everything. Be transparent and keep them involved. And yeah, you can buy lunch.
Yeah, they'll run comps for you, won't they? Well,
oh God, dude,
in Jacksonville, a realtor ran comps for me. I don't got nobody down here in Texas that would do that, but Jacksonville, he ran comps for me in all repair costs. I'd have to lift a finger.
Once a month, I will send every real estate agent that I work with, I will send their entire office something. Lunch, pastries, stripogram, whatever. I will send them something. And it's mainly for, I'll send it in the name of the real estate agent in the office. And what I'm hoping, and what happens like 80% of the time, some of them are selfish, is they will share, because they look like top dog in the office. Yeah, I've got this investor, this wholesaler that's sending all this stuff to me, giving me money when we close these deals and doing right by my clients. They send me these lunches and these strippers and all this stuff. Now, those real estate agents want to know who I am. And once they find out who I am, then they're like, hey, how do I get on your little list? Oh, all you got to do is send me properties that look like this, this, and this that are open to this. And yeah, you're on the list. Okay, I'll send you some.
Yeah. Now the realtors going like wholesalers a little bit more just because of you.
It's not even that. You have basically someone replicating the deals. They're replicating you. It's kind of like a virus, like Agent Smith said, where you're telling them what you want. Now they're going and they're telling all these other people what you want, and they're selling it for you because they want either the commission arrangement that you've agreed with them. They get to throw their money on their commission that they want on top of the deal to their own buyers, which is great. Or we're putting consistent money in their pocket and we're making it easy for them. You got a property that won't sell? Just tell them to do creative financing. I've got a buyer that'll do it. Really? Yeah. And you get your commission. Really? Yeah. And then you close it. You deliver on what you said you were going to do. You think they're not going to keep sending you deals? They're going to get upset that you're not going to be able to close every deal that they send you. And that's the next part. When you do get in good with a real estate agent, ladies, no offense, but it's like getting into a relationship with a woman. You want to be like, yes, 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 we could do this, we can do that, we can do this, we can do that. Do not do that, because much like a new relationship with a woman, you're setting yourself up for failure in the future. If you cannot close a deal, do not be afraid of burning the relationship with the real estate agent by telling them, no, this will not work. That's going to get you more respect. That's going to get you more authority in their eyes, more professionalism. Anyone can do it if it's easy. Anyone can do it if every deal is great. But tell me when the deal is not great so that I'm not wasting your time. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Realtor, look, I love working with you. I love the fact that this relationship is blossoming. I know we're going to do great things together, but unfortunately, this deal's not going to work. And here's why. And then here's what it will take to make it work. If your clients are open to that, then we've got something that we can work with. Otherwise, I don't want to waste your time by telling you that I can get this to work and it can't. I respect you too much for that. But if there's another one in the future you want me to take a look at, by all means, I'll take a look at it. That's going to get you much more respect than telling them yes to everything and then failing 50% of the time because you told them yes when you shouldn't have.
That whole being upfront and honest is like, it just, I don't know, it always works. And that pushback technique, like, oh, here's an update on that, the lady that tried to put 5% interest on that contract. I was negotiating with her and we wasn't getting nowhere. So I was like, you know what? I said, if we don't get these terms, I understand that, but I'm out. And I just left it there for a whole day. And then this morning, she was like, the seller is willing to do that. And she sent me the contract with the corrected terms.
It's almost like my shit worked.
It worked. I think that's like the third time, like me just leaving it alone and it just works. And I guess it's like, I don't know, something that goes on in their mind. Like, no, I don't want to, my property been on market for 80 days and we're losing the only person that's actually interested in the property. And so it's
not even that deep. Again, I'm not, ladies, I am not harping on you by any means. We have our own issues. I get it. But people want what they can't have. And if you're talking to someone that's used to getting everything that they want, well, it's this way or no way, because they're typically the one that's in control. And then here you come like, well, that's great that's how you want it, but it's actually going to go this way, or I'm just going to leave. That's more appealing. People want what they can't have. So if you're willing to walk away from a deal, I put it this way. That's my favorite. Ask anyone on my team. Favorite move is the takeaway. Hey, you know what? I actually don't think this is going to work. You kind of, if this is how we're starting, you know what? I don't know if I want to introduce my buyers to that. So I'll tell you what, good luck to you. I'm going to go ahead and cancel the contract on my end and good. Whoa, I didn't say what's the, and then I'll hear all this backpedaling. Here it comes. Because my secret to why I'm good at this is I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn if I get that deal. Because if I don't get that deal, I'll get the next deal. And if I don't get the next deal, I'll get the one after that. My mindset is of abundance, and I'm not trying to sound all hippy dippy because I'm not. But that part, yeah, 100%. I don't give a shit. Oh, you want to be difficult? That's why if you guys ever look at the chat, go in the search bar at the top in Discord and type in "move on" and see how many times I've said that. And the shit that I've said move on from. Move on. There's too many leads out there, too many deals to deal with that. I won't stand for it because I don't care if I get it. And once people realize that and they realize that you're not going to just be steamrolled, then they start all of a sudden, they start getting like a little more reasonable. Holy shit, that was a rant. My bad, guys. Who else has got a question?
No, that wasn't really a rant because that's so true. Like at first, like I was like, dang, why Sean want me to move on? I feel like I could really salvage this. And then I don't know, it just the reason why I had that mindset, I was like, you know, there is a lot of deals out there. Well, I'm not worried about this one because I got other stuff going on. So if she don't want to do it, hey, that's fine with me. Her loss. And having that her loss attitude definitely, you know, and it used to hurt my soul when I had to just move on. I was talking to the realtor for the whole week, and now I just wasted time because we couldn't work nothing out. Now I just be like, hey, you know, it's whatever. I'll move on.
Something that's very, and again, not trying to go hippie. Now I'm actually going a little more Asiatic. If you think about monks and anything that you've ever been exposed to when it comes to monks, Tibetan monks, Buddhist monks, whatever, and they talk about enlightenment, getting to that point, meditating and not eating or whatever they do. I'm not going to claim that I understand what they do. My point is, it's a lot like that. When you do that mental shift where you're like, I don't give a damn what you say right now. If you do it, great. If you don't, oh well. There's something that happens psychologically, and there's something that happens subconsciously. When I tell you guys, I'm not tooting my own horn. I don't do that. Like, I have an ego, but it's not like that. When I tell you guys that people don't ask me for EMD, or I'm sorry, they don't ask me for proof of funds. They don't ask me what company I'm with. They don't ask me most of those questions, because the way that I'm posturing, the way that my tone is from hello, they're like, oh yeah, this is not the guy to do that with, because we're just like hitting a brick wall. You're damn right it is. I'm looking for a reason to get off the phone with you. I don't even want to talk to you, to be honest. I'd rather be playing 7 Days to Die or something. So give me a reason to get off the phone. I'm looking for one. And when I have that attitude, they don't give me one. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it other than that. Darren, I'm real fucking proud of you for catching on to that.
Yeah, I
think that's the hardest thing for people to learn.
I got to the point where it's just like I'll be on the phone call while I'm on the game, and it just like I don't know. I just really don't care no more. Like if the deal don't fit the mode, then
move on.
You know, it don't fit the mode. But if you really want me to try it and fit the mode, which is usually what happens when I say, yeah, this is not gonna work out, then I'll actually try. But other than that, it's whatever. If I lose the deal, what you said is like 1.6 million. Yeah. So.
Look it up. It's not like people think that I say stuff just because I'm crazy. No. The crazy parts of me, we know what we're talking about. Google it. It's like 1.56 million properties listed in the United States right now. That means that if you get on the phone with 100 real estate agents back to back to back to back, fucking up every single call until you get your spiel, your pitch, whatever dialed in, you still have 1.5 million real estate agents that you can reach out to that have never heard you. And when they do hear you, they're just going to hear the polished version of you, the version of you that's already got your teeth kicked in 100 times by real estate agents. But these new real estate agents, they're not going to know that. They're just going to be like, holy shit, this person knows exactly what the hell they're talking about. Okay, I'll work with you. I'll give it a shot, which is all you need. That's why I advocate get on the phone with realtors. The worst thing that happens is they say no. The best thing that can happen, other than them saying yes, is them cussing you out, because then you can bring it to the Discord and we can like laugh at it. It's funny.
Yeah.
So good for you, dude. I'm proud of you. Because I remember I still got the first video when you first joined.
Oh man.
Yeah, you want to watch it?
Nah.
It's not the same dude. It's not the same Darren. I'll tell you that. So good for you. Who else has got a question?
Hey, Sean, I got a question. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, what's up, Daniel?
Hey, what's up, man? So it really stuck out to me when you said about how having like a really good relationship with a realtor can just really propel your business. So just to give you a little context, I guess it's a question, also just general advice, if you were in my shoes. So I'm extremely new to wholesaling. I understand the basics of what wholesaling is. However, like I haven't experienced a wholesaling deal get put together yet. Like I don't know what that looks like A to Z. And I actually do have a good relationship with a realtor out here. The problem is that I'm extremely new to the game and she's also extremely new to the game. So she just got licensed and everything. I was talking to her about wholesaling. She wasn't really too familiar with what I was saying. So I'm assuming she hasn't worked with wholesalers yet out here. I don't know if I said it already, but I'm out in Southern California. And I'm just really looking to get in the game here, but I have a good relationship with a realtor. I just don't know how to leverage that. So what would you do in my scenario to like work on my first deal, but also kind of like let my friend who's a realtor know like, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. And this is how we can both benefit off of it.
Gotcha. Okay. So there's a couple of things, a couple of layers here. The first thing that I would do when it comes to your friend, if your friend is new, you need to have them understand exactly what wholesaling is. That's the first thing.
Gotcha.
And here's how you explain it. If you have a property that needs a lot of work and won't sell as is on the market, let me know. If you have a property where the seller is open to an owner financing or a creative option, maybe a second home, maybe a rental property or anything like that, let me know. Other than that, do your thing, baby girl. Like
Gotcha.
I'm assuming it's a girl. Sorry, I don't know.
Yeah,
Is it a girl? Okay, good.
Yeah, it's a
you
girl.
said her, right? I don't know. That came from one of me inside. Okay, good. So,
no, I did.
So
you're good. You're good.
Yeah, it's one of those days. So, let them do that. And here's why I say that. Here's why there's so many layers. Southern California is expensive. It's really expensive.
Yeah, I'm in Orange County.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Do you rent?
Do rent out here in Irvine.
How much is it? Because I know my father works in Irvine.
Jesus.
How much is it?
Y'all are about to like, man, if y'all don't know the prices out here, it's fucking outrageous. But I'm paying $2,400.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah. So like I have a career, right? Like I have a career in aerospace, right? I make decent money, but I'm ambitious. Like I want to get into real estate. I want to build something. And so that's why I'm here. And so like I'm very competent. Like I've worked with some like really good companies out here. I just, the real estate game is new to me. However, I look at it, I'm like, I know I can fucking get this. I just got to talk to the right people. I got to see it like 1 or 2 times and I'll be fucking locked in. So that's really like what I'm trying to learn from you guys. And, obviously, I want, I'm being a student again, right? Like I'm like, not trying to bring any like pride in here or anything like that. But yeah, it is super expensive out here. That's why I know a lot of you guys are from like other states. And yeah, so I'm like, are there people from like Southern California doing this shit? Like in the like with Deal Sniper? Like who? Like I don't know if I could connect with somebody who's like actually is doing business out here. I'd like to start out here, but if you guys recommend me to just like work remote, like obviously like just remote in the sense that I'm doing business out of state, I'm open to that too. I just want to know.
Well, let me ask you this. It's a little bit off topic, but I promise it'll tie in. You said you're in aerospace. Tell me a little bit, just briefly, what exactly you do in aerospace.
Yeah. So like real quick, LinkedIn, I guess, is started the Marine Corps working on drones for the Marine Corps. Then I got into SpaceX. I built Falcon 9 rockets for SpaceX for a couple of years. Now I'm back in Orange County. I work for a company called Anduril Industries. We build drones for we're in the private sector, but we build drones for the military and other countries that need them. But yeah, so I'm purely like avionics. I understand like aircraft maintenance and engineering. And yeah, so that's kind of like my background. Well, let
me tell you something, Daniel. So one of the things that a lot of people don't know about me, and this is only a part of me, you're new. I'm schizophrenic, just around the same page. So most of my personalities are really curious people about anything that we don't know about, and avionics and aerospace is one of them. So I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
We've got this I very much admire people who have brains to do what you do, because my brain can't do that.
Hell yeah.
My brain can do a lot of stuff, but my brain can't do that. So I really, really admire people who can do that, Daniel. So because of that, I'm going to offer you something that I don't offer to anyone else. I have a mentorship program where I can literally hold your hand and get you up and running immediately. So here's the thing, though. Well, hold on, because it's expensive.
Okay.
It's $5,000. But if you're willing to talk to me about aerospace and everything that you do once a week for an hour, no bullshit, I'll do it for $1,500.
Okay.
How do you feel about that?
I mean, that sounds great.
Without
like,
saying
when
yes
you
or
say,
no. No. Without saying yes or no, how do you feel about it? Just your feeling.
I feel that I don't want to put myself in a situation where I can't deliver what you might be looking for. So, for instance, like, there is shit I do that I can't talk about.
That's fine. No.
But if
I
you
just want
like,
it's general shit.
yeah,
General stuff.
yeah, if it's general, like, you know,
So that
I'd
sounds like a
definitely
deal
be
that you
willing.
would take.
Yeah, like I have money set aside to like invest in something like that. If you know, like obviously,
Well, hold on 1 second, because I just don't want to. I don't like when people waste their time or their breath.
Okay.
There's no program like that. That doesn't exist. What I was trying to do is show to everyone else how you can get someone to agree to something on the spot, just by one, giving them a bunch of admiration, which I do. That was everything I said was a completely sincere. It was 100% legit. I do respect people who do what you do, because my brain can't do what you do. But the whole point of what I was doing is how to have a conversation with someone cold that I've never talked to before and get them to agree to give me a bunch of money. And if I can give someone to agree to give me a bunch of money, then I could probably get someone to agree to sign a piece of paper. So the stuff that I told you that I'll do, that just comes with being in the Discord. You just got to let me know when you need help, and I'm there.
I was about to say, there's no way. I kind of caught on like what you were doing. And I was like, no way he spun this, and it was so smooth. That was smooth, Sean.
No, it was good, but it's funny because like I'm familiar with kind of like mentorship programs like that, so like it wasn't like too far out of the box.
Yeah, you put him on the spot, so it's like he kind of did have to answer. But Daniel, when it comes to that market, you know, houses are expensive over there. I say you take it from me. You know, don't start with like $1 million houses, because it does get kind of difficult.
No, for sure.
I think Sean would know. But
no. To answer your question, Daniel, here's exactly what I would do. Cultivate your real estate agent you need to train her for exactly the type of situations where she should call you. That's the first thing. And then that's kind of like it's like a pot plant. You know, you plant it, you plant the seed, and then you just leave it the hell alone. And then once it grows and you're ready to cultivate that thing and snip everything off and enjoy it, then you enjoy it. So I think you should cultivate that real estate agent to send you deals that fit the mold. But I also think that you should do your wholesaling in another state completely, like not in California.
Yeah.
Because even the rougher parts, like when I lived in California, what the hell was living? I used to work for a private security company, and I was an ORC investigator. That's organized retail crime. And they stationed me in Desert Hot Springs, which is not okay. So I don't want to talk, ish about Desert Hot Springs, but it's not the best place in California. It's not great. No. And I was almost killed there. And you know what I mean? It's still expensive. So I think you should go somewhere that's a little bit more price friendly, especially if you're just starting into wholesaling. And then once you get a couple under your belt and you see what it looks like, then jump up about half. Or if the real estate agent that you've cultivated that knows exactly what you're looking for calls you with the right type of deal in California, then run it.
Okay.
That's what I would do. Because it's very difficult to wholesale in California. At the same time, you also probably want to instruct your real estate agent to start keeping an eye out and cataloging buyers, investors that she comes across in California, because those are going to be your lifeline to sell the deals that she brings you to.
Yeah.
And then again,
yeah,
if you ever need help or whatever, you just hit me up in the Discord.
got you. Yeah, I'm gonna hit you up. Yeah, I'm at work right now. I'm gonna hit you up later though. I'm just kind of was able to take this call right now, but no, I appreciate the advice there.
Normally, I would tell people when they say that they're at work that we're going to hurry up and get you away from that 9 to 5. But I like your 9 to 5, so I'm torn. So it's up to you.
Yeah, it's a good safety net, but I'm trying to build something else. So,
do you know how to fly a drone?
No, I'm not a pilot, but
damn, I need a pilot.
Yeah.
I want someone to teach me how to fly a drone. I feel like that's going to be like a good skill to have in the future.
Yeah, no, it's definitely gonna be. Yeah, it'll definitely be worth it.
Or like a Peter Griffin drone, with one with like a 9mm attached to it with a random.
Yeah, they're out there.
All right, who else has got a question? Oh wait, hold on, Daniel. Did that answer all your questions?
No, yeah, that did. Thanks, Sean. I'm gonna hit you up later.
All right, do your thing, dude. Have a good day.
Is Cali more expensive than Seattle?
Yeah. Oh God, yeah, by a lot.
Whoa.
Depending on the areas, for the most part, but yeah, I would say most of California is more expensive than most of Seattle, or than most of Washington. Put it that way.
Yeah.
Let's see. Tierra. Oh shit, it's just Tierra. I'm trying to pronounce this shit with an accent. Tierra, what's up?
Hi, yeah.
I'm
I have a
taking
question.
Spanish. Leave me alone. What's up?
No, you're not wrong. You're right. So this lady, her house, she has a house she's trying to sell it for 275K, but
Okay.
she has 187,500 on the mortgage.
Okay. So it's a hybrid.
So I guess my question was, if it's like, if I'm trying to buy this from her, I don't even know if these numbers work. I don't think that they work, because I think what she's asking for is too high. But
Do you happen to have the mortgage info, like the balance, the interest rate, and the monthly? Oh, well then let's just underwrite it.
Okay.
I'll tell you right now if the deal works. That's why we're here.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Okay, how much you said they have it listed for? 275.
Yeah, she has it listed for 275.
And the mortgage balance was 187.
Yeah, 500.
Okay, and then what is the monthly PITI?
It is 1674.
Okay, and then what is the interest rate?
And she said it was 6. She goes 6 something, and then I asked her again, and she goes, maybe like 6.5 or something. She kept alluding. I don't know. It was strange. So I'm gonna say 6.5 or 7.
That's fair. And then what were you giving them as a down payment?
Down payment wasn't discussed. So if you want to put something in, maybe $5,000. It wasn't really like a big discussion down payment. She's really flexible.
All right, we'll start at 10 and then we'll go from
Okay.
there. How about that? So we'll do a $10,000 down, which will give me, what is this, 78,000? Yeah, that's right. Okay, so for anyone that doesn't understand how I just came up with the seller finance amount, because I get this question a lot, what you want to do is you want to take the amount that they have it listed for, or your deal sniper purchase price, whichever one you want to work off of. Then you want to subtract the mortgage balance. Then you want to subtract the down payment. Whatever is left is seller financed or their equity. The seller financing is their equity, regardless of what type of deal you're doing. If it's a seller finance deal, whatever is here, you're paying them on their equity every single month. Same thing with this deal. Whatever is here, you're paying them on their equity every single month. This is also where your balloons apply. Your balloons apply to the seller financed amount, not the mortgage balance and not the purchase price, the seller financed amount. Okay. And then if you notice on subject 2, there is no seller finance amount. All right. So
Can you take out the assignment fee?
you no money on that? You don't want to make anything on this one? Is it a family member?
No, I want to do it as if it's just me and her, not
Oh,
as like I'm
okay.
assigning it. Yeah.
And then what'll it rent for?
Okay, so she has it set up for co-living. So
Okay.
I put in the LTR 1895, and then I put in the short-term rental part 6,000.
Where did you get the 6,000 from?
If
Was
you're
it
renting
Airbnb?
it, no. So it's not even short-term. She just has it for like set up for co-living. So if you have basically 2 people to a room, then it would be 150 times, hold on, I gotta make sure my math is right. It would be 600 times 10 people.
How many bedrooms?
5.
So 5. Okay. So then you're talking about setting it up as a rooming house as opposed to a
Yeah.
short-term rental?
Yeah, but because there's no area for that, I just put
Got it.
6,000 in that bracket.
Okay, fair enough. And then you're confident that those numbers are accurate for that market for a rooming house
I am,
per unit,
and I also did it with like 5K
just to make sure.
yeah, but like it definitely doesn't
Smart.
work as a one person renting the house, but
All right.
um
No, yeah, I want it. I can tell from just based off
yes,
of that. And
yeah.
then just so everyone's on the same page, for anyone who's new, the reason her and I and whoever else isn't new can tell this will not work is because of how close the rent is to the mortgage payment. So essentially, it costs $1,700 to own this property, but it's only going to bring in $1,900 a month. And I know what you're thinking. Simple math says, well, wait a minute, they'll be getting $200 a month. No, because you have to count the war chest, which we're going to go over right now, which is this shit. So if this deal, hold on one second, I'll show you. 1674, right? That was it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then what are you giving them monthly for a monthly payment on the equity?
So this is where the problem came into play. I had
Okay.
asked her, I said, well, what would you want every month? And she goes, I don't know, maybe 2K. And
Okay.
I was just kind of like in my head, like,
Why?
okay. I just thought it sounded astronomical. This was before I had
Oh,
plugged
before
the
you ran the
numbers
number?
into. Yeah. So I was just kind of like, okay. And I told her I would run the numbers and everything. So I ran it with I put 2K in there, and I also put 1K in there just to see like where I was at, and it was positive, I think, on the short-term rental end.
It is. Yeah,
Yeah.
77%. And I've got these maxed out, so you're good. Here's my question. Here's the only thing, and this is none of my business, so you can tell me to fuck off, but I want to make sure that everyone I talk to makes money. Why
Mhm.
aren't you charging an assignment fee? Because I missed that part.
Because I don't want to assign it. I would want it for myself.
Oh shit. Okay, then yeah, this is a fantastic. Oh my god, yeah, get that.
Oh,
$15,500 entry fee. Yeah, get that. And this is listen. The closing cost is 2% of the purchase price because that's like a good number as an estimate. But if we take that out, that's a good deal. If this is accurate and you feel comfortable with a short-term rental, I don't know your experience with short-term rentals. Fucking go for it. Yeah, that's a great deal. And then I want to interview you afterwards because I'm assuming you got this from Deal Sniper, right?
Actually, yes and no. So
Well, don't tell me. Spoiler alert. I want to
yeah,
interview you. I'll interview you next week.
okay.
Please DM me once you get this deal, and don't spoil it. I like to be surprised.
Okay. And I have another question for you. Or
What's
you
up?
can answer someone else's
No, it's
question to
good.
come back to me.
I'm on here until you guys don't need me anymore, and it's only 5:30. So let's rock and roll. What do you need?
Okay. So now what would be the case if she said something crazy like, hey, I want a 3-year balloon? Now we didn't talk about this yet, but what if she says something like that? Does that turn this not into a deal?
The
Because that's
3-year the 3-year
that,
balloon would
yeah.
work because the 3-year the balloon only applies to the seller finance amount, which is $78,000. So the idea would be is that after 3 years, now I'm going to say it's you because you're the one that's going to
Right.
buy it.
Right.
After 3 years, you would just go to whatever bank you choose, or even the bank that they have a current mortgage with, and you would say, hey, here's the paperwork. I've owned this property. I've been paying on this property. I would like to refinance this property into my name. You refinance the property, you do cash out on whatever you owe them at the time, which would be, hold on, I'll tell you.
It would be, I think it would be around like 74K, right? Or something.
So you're giving them $2,000 a month, which is $24,000 a year times 3 years, which is $75,000. So you would actually only owe them $3,000 at the end of the balloon. There'd be no need to do a refinance.
Oh.
I told you it was a good deal.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to watch this replay again. But yes, that's
Do
crazy.
you want me to go through that number again? Because it's going to take
Could you
24 hours for
please?
this thing to render. Okay.
So I can write this down.
Essentially, the way that this deal is set up, you are paying the seller $2,000 a month, right?
Right.
Okay. Bust out your calculator on your cell phone.
Okay.
So put in $2,000 times
Okay.
12 because it's
Okay.
12 months in a year.
Mm-hmm.
So in a year, you will have paid them how much? I've got $24,000. What do you
I
got?
do too.
Good.
Yeah.
So it's $24,000 a year. Now multiply that by 3 times 3 years.
Oh yeah, I have 72K.
So you seller finance 78,000. After 3 years, you will have given them 72,000. So you only owe them $6,000.
Wow.
At the balloon. So if you have $6,000 cash, you don't even have to refinance the deal.
Yeah.
You can just leave it the way it is and just pay them off. They go away. And then now you're just paying the mortgage payment of $1,600 a month. Just so we're on the same page, because I don't know if you've done this yet. Once they're paid off, this is what you're making every single year. It's $36,000 once they're paid off. So in 3 years, you will be clearing. This is take home. This is after all of your expenses, after your taxes, after your insurance, after the mortgage payment for the year. Your take home would be $35,950. God,
That
I
is
love real
insane.
estate. I
Me
know,
too.
right?
Wait, okay. And then I would just be responsible for that 1674 until the end of the 30 years, right?
Until it's paid off. Correct.
Or I pay it off earlier, I guess,
Yep.
sooner if need be. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy I joined this call.
You want to hear another one? Once.
Yeah.
Now you can do this in conjunction. Well, hold on. Let me see if I would or not. Hold on. Okay. So if you're doing that, it's 11,000. So what if I kick this up to 30? No, that's not right. Hold on a second.
Mm-hmm.
What is one extra 1674 divided by 12 is $139. So then this would be $2,140. Okay, perfect. So here's what I did. A lot of people don't realize this, and of course, banks don't advertise it because they would hate it. But if you'd go as minimum as making one extra mortgage payment a year, it will cut your term in half. What I mean by that is, just to make sure we're all on the same page, let's say all of you go out tomorrow and buy a house through a bank. You put down 20% or 3% if you went FHA. You got a 30-year mortgage. If you made one extra payment a year, just the 1674, you would pay the house off in about 16 years instead of 30. A lot of people don't realize that. So if you were to, in conjunction, pay off $2,000 a month plus an extra 100, I did 100, it's actually $139 and some change, but it's basically $149 a month is this divided by 12. So if you paid $2,000 a month plus an extra $1,674, you would actually pay this thing off in half the time that's left on the amortization. Wow. Which means that would be faster that this payment goes away. So even if it's 10 years and you don't go up on the rent at all. Now this is a little bit more future looking than I like to do, because once you look too far in the future, I feel like a lot of people get lost. But you have the foresight to look at this property, you want to buy it yourself. So I might as well tell you. I'll just give it to you. If you were to, in 3 years, here's what your income would look like. We've looked at that already, right?
Right.
But then, and I don't know how much longer is left on the mortgage, so I'm going to assume worst case scenario, and I'm going to assume it's a 30-year mortgage. You're going to make one extra payment a year, so it's going to turn into a 16-year mortgage, right?
Right.
So at the end of 16 years, you'll be making, assuming you don't go up on the rent or anything like that, you would be making $56,000 a year in cash flow on this property. After
Wow.
expenses. That's take home.
Wow.
That's the salary of a typical office worker.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, that's it.
insane.
That's all I got on that deal. But
That-
yeah, it's a great deal. I would
Thank
definitely
you.
get I would definitely get it if you're serious about it.
100%.
Cool deal. Good luck.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. James, what's up, man? What can I do for you?
So yeah, so I'm sitting here sending offers out. I'm finally getting some traction as far as I know. You remember I told you cash on cash was my issue.
Yep.
So I ran into one right now. Just sent off 2 offers, but this one actually it's a package deal with 2 neighboring lots.
Okay. Ooh. Okay.
Right. Yeah, I'm trying to see if it's worth.
No, that was.
I'm trying to figure out how do you even do the math.
Well, that was me talking. So here's the thing. This is a 100% biased answer I'm about to give you. Land sucks. Land sucks. Land sucks real bad. I don't like selling land. And the only reason I don't like selling it, full disclosure, I'm not good at it. Neither is my team. We're not good at moving land. I can help you underwrite land. I can help you comp land. I can't help you sell land. So you're saying that this is a property that's got a house on it that has 2 adjacent lots that come with the deal?
No, it's actually 2 lots with property on it. So it's 2 houses.
Oh,
Right next
well,
to each
shit.
other.
Yeah, well, I can do that all day long. Okay, so then what's the issue?
Yeah. So it's what is the guys? So the asking price, I'm assuming this is packaged. It's $795.
Okay, so they want 790. They want 800,000 for 2 properties. Go ahead.
Yep. It is no mortgage.
Okay.
When did the deal sniper yet?
I mean, I can tell you right now, it would be an $820,000 purchase price with maybe $50,000 down, and depending on the rent for each property, $1,600 a month total.
Okay, so yeah, the estimated rent in Deal Sniper came to $63.60. I don't know.
Now wait a minute. Deal Sniper, because I mean I haven't gotten the notification yet, so I'm assuming not. But Deal Sniper cannot underwrite duplexes. Is this a duplex or is this 2 separate? It's 2 separate, right?
2 separate units.
So then is it $6,300 for each, or is it $6,300 total for both rents?
I'm assuming, I don't know what Deal Sniper's doing, but let me look.
Do me a favor. I know this is going to be riveting TV for everybody else, but DM me the address. I'm going to look up the rents right now.
Okay.
Don't put them in the chat for the meet that we're on. DM me in Discord.
Gotcha.
And the only reason, just so we're on the same page, because a lot of people are new here, why I tell you guys do not give me the address. All of these are recorded and they go on YouTube so people can go through them, learn stuff whenever I'm not available. So I don't want anyone to snake your deal by you guys giving me the address and then someone hears it and they're like, oh, Sean basically underwrote the deal for me. I'll just snake it from him. I don't want that to happen. That's why I say that. All right, there it is.
Yeah, I just sent it to you.
I see it. Okay, so is this the? Are they both identical?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, and then how many bedrooms and how many bathrooms?
It's 1,050 square feet on the first one. Second one is
It's a 2-1, and then what's the other one?
I'm looking that one up right now. Doesn't tell it in the listing.
Is it South Fulton or Southwest South Fulton?
South Fulton.
Okay. All right. I got them both. Are they both the same size? They're 2-1.
Pretty. One's 1,500 square feet, and the other one's like 1,050.
Okay, so I've got one renting at 1,500. I've got one renting at 1,650. So that's 3,150 in rent for both.
So we put that.
All right, so let's underwrite the deal. It's the seller finance, right? So they want 795,000, right? And I told them we give them $50,000 down, so that's $745,000 in seller finance. $50,000 down. You wanted $10,000 assignment. This is 303,150. We'll get rid of that. Is there a realtor on this one?
Yeah.
Are we paying realtor commissions? Not yet, anyway.
Yeah, not yet.
All right. So, what's the taxes and the insurance? And I need the taxes and the insurance for each one, and then I'll just add them both together since we combine the rent also.
Okay, so taxes. $68, $67.
Is that for one or both?
One.
Okay, 68, 67.
And then
How much is the
Other
other?
one.
Damn, that's high. Where's this at? Is this in Texas?
Georgia.
Oh,
Whoa.
Just
Hello,
outside
Joe.
of Fulton County.
Peaches must be expensive. All right, and then what's the taxes for the other one? Oh, you're looking up. My bad. Do your thing.
Yeah.
Oh, what's going on, everybody? Just wanted to say hello.
Hey Sean, what was that? What type of house did she get where she can rent out six like each room? What is that called again?
A rooming house?
A rooming house. A rooming house.
Yeah, so here's the situation for a rooming house. I'll give you a good idea. There's actually one that the guy who taught me how to wholesale, he owns like 4 or 5 of them. So what it is, it's like a think of it like a 6-bedroom, 2, 3, 4 maybe bathrooms, right? So what they do is the kitchen is community, meaning everyone can use it. The living room is community, meaning everyone can use it. The bathrooms are community, meaning everyone uses it. So think about college. It's a lot like college. Your room is your own. Everything else in the house, everybody uses it. So, keep your stuff to yourself. That's a rooming house. And there are licensed rooming houses that are licensed by the state. And then there are unlicensed rooming houses where the person will just go through the city to change the bedrooms, change the bathrooms, change the layout of the house, and then just rent it out as a rooming house where each room is its own rent. Here's one thing that people don't realize. A rooming house does not have the same setup legally as a single family or a short term. And what I mean by that is rooming houses deal a lot with motel rules. So if it's a long-term rental, let's say you're renting a property, it's just a normal single family, 2-bedroom, 1 bath, whatever. You don't pay your rent on the 1st. Then you don't pay it on the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th. They put a notice on your door on the 5th saying, pay your rent or get out. You don't pay your rent. Then they put an eviction notice, and then you have to go to court. Right? And then it takes like a month, 2 months. Then they can finally get you out. A rooming house is different. If rent is due on the 1st, and by midnight on the 1st, you have to pay your rent, it's hotel rules. They can call the cops and say this person hasn't paid their rent, I'd like them removed from the property, and the police will absolutely remove you right then and there on the spot. There is no quote unquote lease.
Squatter proof.
Pretty much.
Wow.
So that's the difference between a rooming house and a duplex or something.
Wouldn't vacancy, repairs capex, wouldn't they have to be a little bit higher though? Because like each room.
Not necessarily. Can be if you're not managing your property right. But think about it. If someone needs to be in a rooming house and they're just renting out one room, their turnover is going to be high. Yes. But what you have to turn over is a lot more minimal because people aren't using everything all day like they would do in a single family or a condo. People are going to the bathroom, they take a shower quick, they're going to the bathroom quick, and then they're going back to the kitchen, they're making themselves some lunch, some breakfast, some dinner, and they're going back to their room. So the most thing you're going to need to rehab when someone ends up moving out or they can't pay is that room, which is usually like 10 by 12. It's not that big of a deal. A little bit of cleaning on the floor, a little bit of paint. 24 hours later, you can rent that room out again.
Yeah, because I was thinking maybe vacancy might be higher because if like 2 people are missing, so shoot, that messes up your whole cash flow.
Yeah, but if you're strategically planning where your rooming houses are, you always have a surplus of people who are looking to stay there. So the faster that you can turn the room over and clean it up to get a new person in there, the faster you can get another person in there. Especially if you're a licensed rooming house, because then the city is sending you people who need a place to stay, and then the city is paying a portion or all of the rent.
So it's like Section 8, but not in a war zone.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. I don't hear people talking about that.
Now, I will say this, though, and then this is going to be a little bit of a stereotype, and I apologize in advance. Just so we're on the same page, I grew up poor as fuck. Like, as fuck. There's poor as shit, and then there's poor as fuck. I grew up poor as fuck. I grew up in a situation where on my... what happened?
I said it's recording.
I don't care. That's my channel. That's the thing. I appreciate the likes and the subscriptions and the comments. That's great. I didn't expect all that to happen. This is my channel. This is more of a video library to teach you guys. If I get monetized, great. If I don't care. That wasn't my goal. So there's a difference between growing up poor as shit and poor as fuck. And by the way, Darren, you're the one that made me repeat fuck. So much so that on my 8th grade graduation, when all my friends were going to lunch, my parents handed me the last $20 that they had. The axle of our car fell out while they were driving me to lunch, and I had to give that right back to them so they can fix the car. That's how poor we were. So when I say areas are rough, areas are ghetto, more depressed areas, I was in that, so I can say it. When you have an area that has a rooming house in it, while it might not be like a war zone ghetto kind of area, it's still not the best area. Like, it may not be a lot of crime or anything like that, not a lot of gang activity, but it still will be low to middle class.
But can't your target demographic, because like usually rooming homes or whatever it's called is like targeted towards like either older folks or like college? Because I can understand why
No.
We're not to college.
You're thinking about like dorms,
or, is that what it is?
Like memory care units or elderly facilities. No, this is like this would be a step above a halfway house, maybe 2 steps above a halfway house.
All right, so the taxes on the other one is 6,100.
6,100, so it's 12,900 and some change. Okay. How long have you been waiting to get that out?
I've been waiting. Now you don't say that.
Let's see, 12,100. Okay, and what's the insurance?
Insurance on this is $33.39.
Is that total or is that just for one?
Just for one. So I can pretty much you can just double that. All
right.
Pretty much identical.
All right. Is there an HOA?
No.
All right. So then we got on such a tangent. I don't remember why we initially started looking at this deal. What's the seller file? Oh, we need to figure that out. That's what it was. All right. So we're at $100 a month. I'm going to tell you right now, you don't have a lot of wiggle room.
Right.
200.
I'm looking at COC.
300. You're capped out at about $350 a month. And I honestly don't think they're going to take that.
Nah.
Reason being is that rent's kind of low, but I looked it up. That's exactly what it is. One property rent out for about $1,500. The other one will rent out for about $1,650. Are they in good shape?
The properties need work, but I'm thinking developer side. I got a developer buyer. This is like 7 acres behind
Well,
me.
I'll tell you like this. The rules, the SOPs that I give you guys are mostly universal when it comes to the down payment percentage, the entry fee percentage. But when it comes to obscure deals like, hey, this one's got some land and I need a developer, if you've got a buyer and it doesn't fit my metrics, that's exactly what they are. Fine. If you've got a buyer that'll take it, lock it up, regardless of what I say.
Right.
Because I don't have the same buyer.
He's all about tearing stuff down. Like give me that. I'll tear it down and build something.
Is this under contract already?
No, I just found it.
Is the seller open to creative financing? Have you talked to them or the real estate agent?
No, like I said, I'm sending offers while we're on this call right now. So that just came across me as far as a list I had.
Well, I'll tell you like this. If the real estate agent responds in a positive way, or you could reach out to your buyer and give them if you trust them, give them the address and say, how much would you pay for this? What kind of deal would you want for this? And then they'll tell you, and then you go out to the real estate and say, look, I've got a buyer. Yep. And here's what you say. Here's how you say it. Here's it. When you guys have a buyer that has already told you, especially if it's a specific property, I wouldn't necessarily do this if the buyer just says, oh yeah, I'll take anything in Texas that's a 3-bedroom, 1-bath under $250,000. I wouldn't do what I'm about to say. But in your situation, if you've got a buyer that says, yes, on this property, if you can get it for this price or these terms, I will take it, and you trust them, then my phone call to the real estate agent is going to be decidedly different. It's going to be like, hey, this property's been listed for a while. I get it. I'm not trying to, beat around the bush or anything. I have one of my buyers who's ready to go right now. They'll put down EMD. They'll show proof of funds. Here's the terms that they're looking for, or here's the price that they're looking for. They're not willing to negotiate. If you're willing to get this done, or your sellers are okay with these terms or this price, send me a contract. I'm ready to go right now. No inspection period, no nothing. Let's do it. That's how you talk to a real estate agent when you have a buyer who's ready to go on a specific property.
Okay, appreciate it.
No problem. Anybody else have a question?
Ooh. Yeah. So how is that not like a dorm or like a? Because you said it's a step above.
Yeah. So it could be. I wouldn't say a cultural difference because you and I are the same color. I would say it's a geographical difference when it comes to terminology. Where I live and where my mentor had them, a rooming house is a step above like a halfway house, or like people who live in a rooming house aren't in the best situations in their life. Could a college student live in a rooming house? Absolutely, they could. It's just not typical. Could an elderly person live in a rooming house? Absolutely. It's just not typical. Rooming houses where I'm from are typically somewhere you don't really want to be. Like your life isn't going great if you're in a rooming house. That's what I meant.
Yeah, that's probably why I was confused.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a geographical thing.
I've been fortunate enough.
Okay, show off.
Wait,
All right.
so I'm sorry for I asked a lot of questions. So
Good.
when it comes to like, because I want to get a new rental well, I want to get one eventually, but what would be the best? Because like I hear Section 8, and like after you told me those things and I did my own research, I was like, yeah, Section 8 is really not for me. And just regular rentals, yeah, that's an option. But I never heard about group homes. Would you say that's like a step up from just regular like renting out and like
As
less
far
risk
as far as difficulty to
and
own,
like more
yeah.
is that more passive income than
No, I mean, well, hold on. You're asking a lot of different questions that are
my
going
bad?
in a bunch of different directions. No, it's fine. So let me do my best to answer them. A group home or any variation of that is absolutely harder to own and or manage than a straight single family, even a duplex. Because a group home typically has more than 4 doors. It's usually 5 or more tenants or doors that are being occupied. You know, some doors can have 2 people in there, some doors can have 1 people in there or 1 person in there. So you're essentially taking on the responsibility of having a building occupied by 5 to 10 people versus having a property occupied by 2 people or 3 people if there's a child or 4 people if there's a child. So in terms of hierarchy, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, if you're completely new to being a landlord and you're going to self manage the property, meaning you're the one that they're going to call, you're the phone number that they're going to have if the toilet breaks or the police get called or whatever, I wouldn't start off with a rooming house. I wouldn't. I would start off house hacking a duplex or a triplex. And even then, I still wouldn't tell them that I owned the place. As a matter of fact, that's what I did for my first one. I house hacked it. It was a duplex.
Yeah.
I lived on one side, rented out the other side, charged enough rent to cover the mortgage and everything. I didn't tell my neighbor that I was the owner because then they would have knocked on my door for everything.
Yeah. And don't you like when it comes to getting a property manager, don't you just take out like 10% of like your passive?
It's 10% of the revenue. So if
Yeah.
the property's renting for $1,000 a month, you're going to take out $100. That's going to be property manager a month.
I think I want a house hack too. I heard about it, but I don't know.
Well, when I did it, I was looking for like fights and stuff. But in all honesty, when I bought the property, the person who lived there, they only had a couple of months left on their lease and they moved out anyway. So I ended up living basically alone for 6 months. And I could have rented the property out sooner, but I didn't want to because I don't like neighbors. And I didn't need the money like that. But if I had done it properly, I would have got a tenant in there immediately to start taking over the mortgage payment that I had generated. Once I got a tenant in there, then I was like, oh, great, this is awesome. All the money that I bring in, other than my utilities and my car shit, is covered. And then 1 property leads to 2, 2 properties lead to 4, 4 properties lead to 8. And then 8 properties should, if you're going to keep going in this type of industry, should lead to multi-units or multi-family properties or apartment complexes. That's the
Did you get your first property on the FHA loan?
No. My first property was because the full disclosure, the first property that I ever bought, I foreclosed on.
Snap.
Yeah, I was 20 years old, bought my first property, thought that I was hot shit, found out the hard way that no, I'm not, and I lost that house. So for anyone who thinks, oh, I'm either too old or I've made so many mistakes or I got to start over into wholesaling, yeah, so what? This is the fastest way to do it. You already know what not to do.
So my bad, but I think I already asked this question. So so would you recommend? Well, like you already said, house hack. But when it comes to just
it depends on you as a person, though.
like
if you can handle house hacking, do it. If you have the brain to handle, some people their first property is a 10 unit apartment building. They have the brain for that. So if you know you better than I will ever know you. So don't overreach. Do enough to stretch you, but still stay within the confines of, hey, I'm not going to lose any money on this deal.
Yeah. I just want to just have like this passive income, and not like the easiest way, but like the more.
Why not the easiest way? Why would you want it more difficult on yourself?
Because easiest way, like, meaning it's probably like I don't want to put in the work. I want somebody else to do it for me. So I would just, yeah. Huh.
I don't get it.
I guess I just want like the most offhand job. Like when it comes to either group homes or a regular Section 8, like Section 8 would be
You want
offhand
something
because
out of the box, is what you're saying?
I just want something where I check my phone every month and yeah, they paid, and then I just keep continuing living life.
Oh, you want some shit on autopilot.
Yeah. I want to, like, you know how like people want to wholesale delegate their tasks. So a VAM and a VA, all they gotta do is like sign the contract and then they get paid. I know they're not breaking like, they're only making like probably 20% or 10% of the actual profit, but it's still, them having so much time on their hands because they don't have to do as much. That's kind of where I want to be at.
No, I get you. And I 100% understand where that mentality comes from. You just have to be able to build a solid foundation before you can get there. That's all.
Okay. And how would I start that foundation? By house hacking?
A bank account. You need a big bank account first. And when I say big, I don't mean big like, oh, I need to be a millionaire. No, the hell you don't. You need enough. You need to do research. You need to find out what areas you want to own your properties in. I would suggest starting close to where you live.
Yeah.
And then figure out how much money those areas are bringing in rent. And then figure out what kind of property you want to target, whether it's a duplex or a 4-bedroom so you can house hack it, a duplex so you can house hack it, a pad split, whatever. And then you build a mock deal in your head. Okay, if I find a deal that's this purchase price and I can get it for this down payment, I can afford that down payment. It'll bring me this amount of money per month. If I save this amount of money per month, then here's what I'll have left over after this amount of mortgage. And then you just wait until you find a deal that fits your mold.
Yeah.
Once you find the deal and you have that money saved up, you just do exactly with, I am so sorry, I don't remember who that was that I was talking to earlier. You do exactly what she's doing and you buy the damn thing yourself.
And Tierra.
That's it. No, it was Tierra because I tried to do the whole Spanish thing.
Okay.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
That's how you do it.
And what made you foreclose? Because they're like, I want to learn from your mistake. What did you do wrong?
I'm too
you
nice.
Miscalculated?
No, I'm too nice to people. I lend out money and give people money and help people to my own detriment, or at least I used to. So if I have $1,000 in my bank account and I have rent to pay, I will figure it out on my own. If someone close to me that I care about needs $900, I'm going to give it to them. That's how I lost it.
Yeah, if I was in that situation, that would probably suck too. If like a mother of two just lost her job and now
no, it wasn't like that. It was a friend of mine who needed some money, and I had a choice to make: pay my mortgage or give them the money that they needed, and figure out a way to hopefully get my mortgage paid. So I chose to give them the money that they needed to be helpful, and I didn't figure out a way to get my mortgage paid, and then that turned into a downward spiral into getting behind, to where I ultimately lost the house.
Are you still friends with him?
Yeah.
So it was worth it.
Yeah, that's fine. Because here's the thing about money, or at least here's my thing about money. If I need to make money, I'll make it. There's nothing I've ever done in my life where I didn't make money. I'm fucking good at everything. Anything that I care about, I'm good at. So if I need to make money, I'll go make some. So yeah, if I need to give it away to help someone that I care about, I'll give it away.
Makes
I don't care. I'm one of those people where I can hold it on my shoulders. And if I can take it off your shoulders and put it on my shoulders, I feel like I can hold it better than you can. So yeah, I'll take the pressure. I got it.
Didn't that just fuck up your credit though? Like really bad?
Yeah. Yeah, it did. I don't care. Everything will work out. And it did. And now
Yeah,
I'm
it
doing
did.
great. So
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
How bad did it mess up? Because I don't really know
Oh,
nothing about
like
credit.
it was only like 85 points, 90 points, something like that.
Wait, hold on. Isn't that a lot?
It's
like,
a lot if your credit score is low. And I grew up poor, so I grew up with paying things a lot in cash. So I didn't actually start building credit or even realizing or utilizing credit and understanding what it was until I was like 30. And that was like 25 years ago. So it took me like 5 or 6 years to get my credit up to like 8. Don't go fuck you. Okay, I'm not that old. Okay. Go fuck you. I'm not that old. All right. And so it took me like 5, 6 years to get my credit up to like 800. And then I dropped down 100 points. So if I told you right now, without telling you that I lost 100 points a month ago, if I told you I had a 700 credit score, you would say that that's a what kind of credit score? Good, bad, or average?
Wait, you kind of lost me. Say it again.
If I told you right now I have a
Good.
700 credit score, would you say that's good, bad, or average?
That's average, right?
I would say it's good. Average is like 6. Actually, average is like 520, but we don't talk about that. Yeah, I would say I have good credit or had good credit when that happened, because even though I lost like 90, 95 points, for anyone who didn't know that I lost those points and just saw my credit score, I have a 705 credit score, which is good or better than most or better than average. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because
it's all about your perspective. If you know I had an 800 and then I lost 100 points, then it's like, damn, that sucked. But if you don't know that, and I just tell you, oh yeah, my credit score is 705, you're like, damn, that's pretty good. So it's all about your perspective.
Okay. Yeah, because I took a class on that last year. I didn't really pay attention, but
you should have.
Yeah, it was in the morning, so.
And it doesn't matter. Did you take your time to go to the class?
Yeah, I kind of had to.
Let me ask you a question, Darren, real quick. How much money would it take you right now to buy an hour?
I don't know.
There's no answer because you can't buy time. What my point is that if you're going to spend your time doing something, you might as well actually do it, because you're not going to be able to get that time back no matter how much money you ever have.
Yeah, I didn't have that mindset like last year. Like I was completely.
Well, you were a baby last year. Yeah,
I was like 16. Like I was.
You see the humble brag this guy does? Like, oh yeah, last year I was only 16, and
no, so like,
young, but now I'm killing it. So
I just had other people in my class to do my work for me, and that was just basically it. So all that, yeah, I didn't really come to understand credit or loans. Thank God my mom works for a bank, so I can just really just ask her about that.
Good. I hope you're using that as a resource. Oh shit, James, what's up, dude? You got a question? I don't know how long your hand was up.
Yeah. Nah, I just DM'd you another address. Wanted to underwrite.
Oh, well, why'd you DM me the address?
I don't know. It was because you asked me before.
Is it off market?
It is on market.
It's on market. Okay, so yeah, I don't need the address. I just need the numbers.
Okay.
So what's the situation? Now, hold on a second. Wait. Because you're newer to these trainings. Why are you having me underwrite? Is there something about underwriting you don't understand? Because I'd rather work on
so
that.
basically, so my thing is, I'm just trying to get the flow of it, using Deal Sniper, getting in the numbers. And because remember, I told you everything I was getting was under, like, so this one works out to be 6.32 COC, cash on cash.
That's too low.
Right. So is there, because I always see you plug in, you start playing with numbers and then.
Oh, no. Hold on a second. Sorry. When you're using Deal Sniper for sending out offers, you don't have to use this. You don't have to use the calculator. That's a waste of time. you only use the calculator when a real estate agent responds positively to your offer, because you want to underwrite it and make sure that you know what your maximums are in case the real estate agent wants to negotiate. But if it's just sending out offers, the only thing you need to do once you paste the address into Deal Sniper, even before you clean up your numbers, if you want to really expedite this shit, then all you got to do, post your address into Deal Sniper, wait until it pops up, go over here to LTR and look at this. If this is less than 10, next address. If it's 10 or more, then you can go back to the offer and then you can clean up your numbers, email it out. Don't waste time using this unless the real estate agent responds positively, because then that'll keep you forever.
Okay, I definitely wasted time doing that.
That's okay. That's all right. That's why
Yeah.
the trainings exist, because now you know.
Okay, and what's your thought process with houses that need work?
Hate them. No, I'm just kidding. It depends on if they're on market or not. If they're on market, regardless,
Yeah, on market.
it's 60% of what it's listed for, minus your rehab estimate, minus your assignment fee. That's your cash offer. If you're talking about a creative offer, I don't recommend putting creative offers in on properties that need extensive work. Now, I'm not saying focus on properties that have been flipped. They don't need to be flipped. They don't need to be recently rehabbed. They need to be livable. They need to be turnkey, or at the least minimal rehab needed before a tenant can be put in that property. If it needs like a full gut, I would offer either a cash offer or just move on.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
No problem. Tiara, what's up? Is it Tiara, Tierra? I still feel like I'm pronouncing this wrong. How do you say your fucking name?
Oh no, Tierra.
Tierra. Okay, what's up? What
Uh-huh.
can I do for you? Don't
Yeah,
say it, Baron, like you knew the whole fucking time. What's up, dude?
In regards to my deal, I forgot to ask, like, for the seller finance part of it, I would just go through a regular closing for that, right? With an
What do
attorney.
you mean? What
Like
city
get
is
that
this in?
under. What'd you say?
What city is the deal in?
Pennsylvania.
Is that an attorney state, or do you guys use title companies there?
Or title, yeah. Either or.
You could just you could use a title company or an attorney. Yeah, if it's either or, then yeah, you can use either or. But I still
Okay.
don't 100% understand your question.
Like I guess I was asking like because it's a hybrid, so I understand I would be paying her mortgage, and then the other part I would be doing seller finance. So for
Right.
that part, I would just go through the motions of having the contract and
Yeah,
I'm
sorry.
assuming
Now I
going through like
understand.
a normal closing. I'm assuming.
What'll happen is title will generate a promissory note for the $78,000 under the terms that you've stipulated in the contract.
Okay.
So it would say, you owe whoever the seller is $78,000. Term is X amount of dollars per month at 0% interest. Here's the monthly payment. Maturity date should be this date, yada, yada, yada. And then you would sign it, and then the seller would sign it. That's all.
Gotcha. And then is there like a way that you guys prefer to track that it's the loans being bought down or track the payments?
So what'll happen is the escrow officer on and this is any hybrid or subject to deal for anyone who needs to know this. So what'll happen is about a week, maybe 2 weeks before the deal's supposed to close. So we'll do a little bit of imagination here. So let's imagine you got the deal under contract. They're 100% okay with the terms. You're going to buy it. You like it. Deal's turned in. Contract signed. Great. You turn it into title and escrow. Escrow sees the agreement. They're going to do it. 2 weeks before the deal's supposed to close, title or escrow is going to call you, and they're going to say, what's your bank account information?
Okay.
So, and they're going to attach it to the mortgage for the seller. Then the same escrow officer is going to call the seller and say, what's the login information for your mortgage account so that I can set up automatic payments with the buyer being you. So what the escrow officer is going to do is they're going to log in to the seller's mortgage account. They're going to attach and set up automatic payments for the first of every month, or whatever the mortgage payment is, to be automatically drafted from your account and to pay off the mortgage. And then title and escrow is going to monitor that payment every single month to make sure that it's actually paid and completed.
Gotcha.
Does that help?
It does. Yeah. Now, what about on the seller financing? Like, how
Same
how are
thing.
you guys? Oh, the same
Same
thing.
thing. Same thing. So what'll happen is that promissory note that's set up, you can also stipulate however, or the seller can stipulate how they want to be paid. Certified check, money through title and escrow, which would the way that we prefer. That's a
Okay.
third party title and escrow company. So the same escrow company, you can set it up through them to say, hey, I would like to pay my payment to you, and you then pay it to this person.
That's what I was wondering because I'm like, how is this being tracked? Because they could essentially say,
Yeah, it's being tracked through third party title and escrow.
perfect.
That's the
Okay.
way you want to set it up. That way you have someone outside of you and the seller that's not involved in the deal. They're just
Right.
monitoring it to make sure that all the payments are happening and they're tracking it.
That sounds good to me. Thank you.
No problem. Anybody else have a question? All right, perfect. Well, then I will let you guys go for, oh, were we on here for 2 hours? Oh, shit. All right, cool. This training recording will be up and live tomorrow on the YouTube channel. And then I will tag anyone who wants to be tagged in it tomorrow morning in the Discord. Just let me know. Other than that, you guys have a great night, and I will talk to you later.
Wait. I'm sorry. I just got one for hybrid purposes. If we can
For who?
squeeze this in, it's gonna be a hybrid.
Okay, what are we doing?
Underwrite.
Okay, and then let me ask you this. So when I'm underwriting deals, is there something about underwriting you don't understand that need help with, or what's up?
You're talking about me?
Yeah.
Oh no, I understand. I definitely understand. The reason why I'm asking about this one is
Second opinion.
because yeah, but I also kind of want to see if I'm not sure how creative I can get with the creativity part.
Okay.
So
Hit me. What's up?
okay, cool. I already know that this PITI is pretty much it outweighs the rent right now.
Okay.
But because the seller finance is so low, I was wondering if some adjustments could be made. Like I previously heard you say to someone that if payments were held off for like 5 years and then they resumed, that their deal could work. So that's why I say I'm not sure how creative I can get.
All right. Well,
Um,
let's put the deal in. What's the mortgage balance?
okay, mortgage balance is 203 or 204,
All right. What's the PITI?
23.
Okay. Interest rate?
Interest rate is 275.
Ooh, that's good. All right. What's
Yeah,
the
unfortunately.
oh, don't say unfortunately. Oh, is it really that bad?
Yeah, I mean it's close.
How much are they selling the place for originally? Or what's
Uh,
the purchase price, I guess?
purchase price is going to be 347.
Okay. And then what are you giving them as a down payment?
24.
Okay. So then that would make this like 120, no, 119,000.
Yep, 119 exactly is what I got.
Okay. And then what's the rent?
Uh, rent is 21.
Short term?
Short term is 43.3 divided by 3K. 3,600.
Realtor commission?
No,
Okay. And you said this was 2,300, right?
what? I'm not looking, I'm sorry. I'm looking at my
Yeah.
screen.
No, it's all good. It's 2,300. Okay. Oh, damn. Yeah, you're negative $6,000, not even counting your entry fee percentage is fantastic. Did we include an assignment fee? We did not. Okay. All right, because nobody works for free. All right, still fantastic. Yeah, you're losing $6,000 not making any monthly payments. Your only bet on this one would be a homestead buyer. You got to find someone who's got a 34,000. Oh, closing costs aren't even out here. You got to find someone that's got a $34,000. That's got 34 grand. That's the only way you're going to be able to do this with you.
Okay, so in a sense, let's say that route, I do take that route. How would that work as far as the mortgage goes, though?
So what'll happen is, let's say, okay, so we'll use me, right? So you're the wholesaler. I'm the one that wants to buy the deal. I'm a homestead buyer. I want to live in this property. You're going to send me the assignment contract. The assignment contract is going to say that the purchase price is $275,000 and that, or no, sorry, this is a different deal. What's the purchase price for yours?
347.
Okay, so you're going to send me an assignment contract that says that I'm purchasing the property for $357,000 with a, what was the down payment?
25 or 24.
With a $34,000 entry fee plus closing costs.
And obviously that 10 is because of me.
That's your assignment fee, correct.
Got you. Okay.
And then it's the same situation if you find an investor. You're going to take the contract that you have with the seller and the contract that you're going to sign with the homestead buyer. You're going to take both those contracts, you're going to turn them into title. Title's going to ask for the contact information for everyone that's involved, you, the seller, the buyer, and then title pretty much does everything after that. And then title will set up a time for your homestead buyer to come in and drop off their $34,000 cashier check and sign their final paperwork. Then they'll call the seller and say, come in and sign your final paperwork and come pick up your $24,000 check. And then they'll send you a check for $10,000 at closing. That's how it goes.
That's how it goes. Okay. Seems simple.
Yeah.
So the reason why I wanted to catch you before you got off is because this is the second property this realtor has sent me.
Okay.
And it's the second one that I have to like say no on and why. So ultimately I know it's because the PITI is, you know, almost similar to the rent. So obviously there's no income or cash on cash.
Right.
And I didn't want to say no again. So I was wishing and hoping something else could be done.
Now, I know how you feel when you don't want to tell people no, but you're going to be respected more. And you need to frame it as such if you think that the real estate agent or whoever you're talking to isn't going to understand that. And we typically get a sense of that. You humans, I don't know if you guys get a sense of that. I'm assuming you do, but you can tell if someone's on board with what you're saying. And if they're not on board, then they need a little bit more explanation. So that's what we call framing. So you need to frame it. Hey, here's the frame. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Realtor, as you know, I represent investors who are going to be putting tenants in these properties so that they can cash flow. Then send them a screenshot of this.
Right.
I would love to work with you on this deal, but as you can see, because of the PITI, this property does not cash flow. Therefore, my investors won't be interested. If you have anything else for me to take a look at, please let me know. There's no world where the real estate is going to get mad at you for that, especially if you word it that way, because you're taking it off of you. You didn't say, I can't move this deal. You said, my investors can't cash flow this, so they're not going to take it. And I respect you enough to not waste your time and tell you that they can, knowing that they can't.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty much what I said for the first one, which is why she sent the second one. You know, but
just be honest. And you know what? I'm gonna tell you like this. If anyone's got an issue with you being honest, you don't want to work with them anyway.
Okay.
That's
question? All I have. Absolutely. Thank you.
No problem. What's up, dude?
Could you please re-explain to me a little bit about how we perform the short-term calculation?
Yeah, you go on Air DNA.
Yeah.
When you go on Air DNA, you put in the address. Once you put in the address, you take whatever the bedrooms are and you double that for the occupancy. So if it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, that means that it'll accommodate 6 people because you can fit 2 people to a bedroom, like a couple. And then once you hit enter, in the top corner on the right, it'll give you projected revenue. Then you take your projected revenue and you divide that by 12. Because what it's giving you is the yearly amount that this property will generate as a short-term rental. And you need to figure out what the monthly amount is. and there's 12 months in a year. So you take the amount that it gives you, you divide it by 12, and whatever that number is, that's what you put for your short-term rental rent.
Gotcha. Thank you so much.
No problem. All right, I'm going to let you guys go. You guys have a great rest of your night. This training will be uploaded tomorrow morning. If you guys need anything, I will be in Discord after about 8 p.m. this evening. I've got a couple of meetings that I've got to take care of. Otherwise, you guys have a great night. I'll talk to you later. See ya.